Charlister.
No, we have short timing.
That's all right.
Dear Board of Directors and President, and to you, it's nice to see a new face in the general manager's position. For the new board, my son was killed by light rail train in Gresham on a crosswalk, June 23rd of 2003. In June of 2007, I passed a law, Senate Bill 829, that required TriMet to have a study done, go back to every crosswalk throughout the entire light rail line to see if they are safe. I came first to the Board of Directors meeting in April of 2008, wanted to know how the law was going because Senator Rick Metzger gave TriMet 1 year to complete this study. I was appalled to find out that the board at that time did not even know about the study. I then went back the next month and made the board aware of the circumstances surrounding my son's death and requiring them to do a study. I wanted them to know how many people they are hitting and killing and maiming, and we need to make safe. You see, they always made it safe as they build new lines, but never came back to correct the old. When the study was finally completed, they had to change over 66 crosswalks, and at least 30 of them were on the East County. By the fact that the Board of Directors at that time did not know what was going on, I still needed to continue in following TriMet to keep them accountable. Because from what I learned about Fred Hansen, the last GM, is that he didn't always tell the truth to you, the board, and I wanted you to know the truth. I have been speaking for the past 7 months for a Citizens Review Board for safety. Looks like you really are headed in the right direction, and they call it a task force for safety. I do know these are still people picked by TriMet, and I do believe you will want that culture to change. You need to bring someone into the inside that will teach, oversee, and that they are now going to show them how they can do things better and be safer. Thank you for starting this new safety group. I have prayed about this for a long time. Thank you to the new general manager, Neil, for coming in, picking up the pieces left behind, starting to make the changes. They have been a long time coming. Last month, the Board of Directors meeting was on June 23rd. That was my son's 7-year anniversary that I lost him. To make it through the day, as a parent, I had to leave town. Now that you are headed in the right direction on safety of the drivers, I'm going to head you in another direction on safety that TriMet has neglected to follow. We need education out for our kids, our community, for safety of the light rail, and for the bikes. From the knowledge of what I have talked about at the Senate Salem, talking with Kelly, and also other TriMet employees, is that we have not educated our schools at all, except for in the beginning of the light rail in Beaverton. What they have so far is that you can download information off of the website. They would provide you posters. There is not enough. We need to go and educate at every school each year. My idea is to do like the DARE program, where you go into the schools at a certain grade, like 5th or 6th, and talk to them about the safety of the light rail. Example, how quiet it is. Also, the false sense of security of the crosswalks. Then the kids would know not only they would learn the safety, they would also take it home and tell their parents so they could be educated also. As a parent, I never rode light rail. After my son died, I spent a lot of time watching the station at Gresham City Hall. I didn't realize that you could have 2 trains in a station at the same time. One comes in, one goes out during a busy time, and a day maybe only 15 minutes apart or less, running both directions. My son saw the eastbound train, not the westbound train, not realizing there may be another train coming in the station. And in Gresham, the eastbound train stops before the pedestrian crosswalk, and the westbound train goes through it. I wish my son would have had the education at the schools. Every year, new students go into the schools. We need to be continuing this job. I've been a general manager, a manager of an office, a bookkeeper, and I am now looking for a job. I will get one in the near future, but I have a great passion to help educate our kids and the other parents not to live my life. I look forward to looking forward to help figuring out how to fund the program like this. You, the board, may know and have set aside some education money and also maybe legislation, state, federal funding for education. Who knows? Maybe ODOT has some funding too, or maybe even from the stimulus package. Today I will give you a card for my website. You can go take a look at it, and if you know a way that you can help me on my journey to help make it safe for the light rail and talk about the buses for TriMet, or we can talk about it at the next meeting. My son had a saying, don't let the little things get in your way. To me that means, it's okay Mom, you can't save me, but you can save someone else. Aaron's Bridge to Safety, that's what it's all about. Making it safe for your children, your grandchildren, and really everyone you know. Thank you for listening to me today, and I do hope with your help that we can start educating the schools this year and continue to make a difference in our community. God bless you.
Darla, I'm counting on you to be there through this task force process. I'm sure you will. I was assured that you would. And good ideas, yeah. Here was Steve Schott.
Good morning, Board and Chairman and General Manager Farland. First of all, I want to let you know that the people who have come here the last few TriMet board meetings is the tip of the iceberg, and I can tell you confidently there are thousands of people who prefer to either be here or send their critiquing of what circumstances we found our transit system in our region in. And from listening to the totality of the staff's report and the comments, it's obvious that we are in a situation where you can't cut services and raise fares fast enough to keep up with rising costs. I appreciate that what I recognize is hopefully a arrival of authentic due diligence by the gentleman's comments and questions earlier regarding safety, the core mission of TriMet, and certainly the numbers and the fiscal matters that have been long too often ignored by the prior board members. And when we get down to the situation of applying authentic due diligence, we need to do it on everything that was testified here about. And let's just have a reminder that 2 meetings ago, Fred Hansen told the board that you currently have a other post-employment benefits liability of $50 million a year. You're contributing 0 to. Now, due diligence dictates that you ask the general manager of today to explain to you how that's going to affect your operations in the future. It's going to be somewhere between no effect and a destroyed agency. And I think due diligence mandates that you determine with some reliability what that effect is going to be. Because as you were told by Mr. Hansen, the current liability is amassed to somewhere around $700 million with no money going towards it. Now, when you talk about the various dynamics, and there's many things to critique about the capital projects of Milwaukee Light Rail primarily, but there seems to be an avoidance of the collective severity of everything involved with the sole default position of, well, gee whiz, it's a jobs program. Well, let me propose this to you. I'm a contractor. I'm going to take the pay of half the people in this room, okay, and I'm going to use it to create 5 more jobs in my business. And I don't want to turn around and say I'm a job creator. Now, the fact that there's no funding to pay for their jobs and they lose their jobs, well, I didn't cause those jobs to be lost. I'm a job creator. That's what you're doing for your failure to identify legitimate and genuine funding for the Milwaukee Light Rail project, because you have relied on so much bonding from your own agency to the urban renewal districts to the state lottery that you are essentially, well, literally taking the revenue that funds current revenue streams that provide money for jobs. So whatever concocted number of jobs you claim, or the management claims, I'm not going to try to be personal here, but it's just not realistic to say that the Milwaukee Light Rail is justified simply by the creation of so-called 14,000 jobs. Because if you really dig down and apply due diligence, you will determine that there are thousands of more jobs that you are taking the payroll money from. At the state level, at the county level, at the city level, and indeed your own operation here at TriMet. So when these people are concerned about things, and the list is big, you know, you're talking about safety, either on and off the bus system or the TriMet Max system. You're talking about ADA needs. You're talking about the addition of more bus service and return of cancel service. You know, you have all these needs and to fund commitments you've already made. Now, the only thing that Milwaukee Light Rail is going to do is to make every single problem you have far worse. So I implore you to really do your job, especially regarding due diligence, because I know I'm very experienced in this, and I know your partners that are involved, from county commissioners to legislators to even the sitting governor and candidates. They all think that the due diligence is happening right here. This is where the buck stops. They all presume that the due diligence that you're mandated to perform consists more of simply taking what the staff and the GM provides you and nodding. And so, you know, even when I look through the comment section on the newspapers and the various blogs out there and the talk radio airways on both the progressive side and the conservative side, there is a sea of deep concern about what's going on here. And it cannot be passed off simply because only a few people show up here. You need to measure it. You said TriMet's good at measuring. You need to measure the severity of this. You need to measure the lack of due diligence, and you need to reinvent yourselves as a board and a responsible agency. And give these people what they want and save your own agency. And I thank you. I'm sorry if I get too worked up. I'm too firm about this. You know, I've been involved in this for many years, and it's important. We need to be accurate, honest, and apply due diligence, and you'll find that, you know, the institution here, you know, it's human nature for them to put the happy face on things. And I'll leave you with one more thought. We know for an absolute fact that at least a year ago, the feds notified our congressional delegation that you were not going to get any more than 50% contribution from Milwaukee Light Rail. I know for a fact that even as recent as a few weeks ago, the staff was still telling the public and this board they were good in stage to get 60% contribution. Now, how is it you can be so misled, the public so misled, to have such a huge reduction in federal contribution? This is where due diligence comes in. You need to have known that a long time ago and addressed the huge $300 million hole you're facing from Milwaukee Light Rail. You should have known that a long time ago. And then the rest of it, I'm fearful that the rest of the local option is simply a financing scheme. You've never identified any legitimate dollars that constitute funding. Not a TriMet, not an urban renewal, not the state lottery. All those dollars are current revenue streams funding current jobs. But please, I implore you to protect them. Stop this project. Thank you.
I do agree with you on one salient point, and that's that we're in very challenging times. There's no question.